While many farm operations in the country are in the flight path of migratory birds, which are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. However, common ag activities can be caught up in the Act's provisions, creating serious consequences for producers. And joining us now is Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law. Roger, thanks for joining us today. First of all, give us some background on the Migratory Bird Treaty Act.
Well, hi, Janet. Good to be with you today. It is an act that does protect migratory birds that are not necessarily endangered birds, but where they would be protected under the Endangered Species Act. It's broader than that, but it makes it unlawful at any time and by any means or in any manner to pursue or hunt or take or capture or kill any type of migratory bird by any means or in any manner. And it's basically a strict liability statute. That means that liability can be imposed on, for example, a farmer that just inadvertently poisons migratory birds by the use of pesticides.
How deep does it impact our farmers and ranchers across the country?
Well, the pesticide issue is a big issue, and there are numerous cases that are out there where chemicals have poisoned the flock, for example, of geese and killed several of them, and that case went to trial, and the trial court held that even though the farmer didn't apply the pesticide in a negligent manner and couldn't control the fact that the geese would land and eat the granules, liability under the Act was based on whether he knew that the land was a known feeding area for the geese. That's a pretty broad application. Well, ultimately his conviction was not upheld because the court said that the act was too vague to give him adequate notice that his conduct would likely lead to the killing of protected birds, since his past experience with the pesticide in the geese was that it did not kill them. So he wasn't held liable under the act in that situation, but that's a good case showing listeners the broad application of the statute.
Now, I understand the act also prohibits the taking of migratory birds by the aid of baiting. Can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, baiting is a big issue. This usually comes into a situation where you have an individual that's trying to hunt these types of birds, and so they'll leave grain out in the field. They won't harvest all of it, for example, or there's irregular harvesting, and that's what the feds will look at, the Fish and Wildlife Service people. And we had a recent case that came out of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit where the individual was charged with illegally baiting and conspiring to bait ducks under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. And the federal agents, had noticed some irregular harvesting patterns by airplane. They flew over his property and then came on at night and took pictures with special cameras at night. He gets prosecuted, and he could not use the exception for normally accepted farming practice, which exists under the law, and his conviction was upheld.
All right, Roger, as always, thank you very much for joining us. That's Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law on the phone with us today from Topeka, Kansas.